On Not Nick Cannon snitching on himself and admitting to attending Diddy's parties when he was just a teenager. Girls say what now? It's super weird that Nick would come all out to admit this in a time when everyone else is desperate to distance themselves from Diddy and his parties because they're scared of getting hit with RICO charges or getting tied to his trafficking charges for obvious reasons. But that's not all, because the streets are now saying that not only did Nick attend those parties, but he was allegedly victimized by Diddy and Jamie Foxx when he was just a teenager. And why on earth does he keep defending Diddy even after all his alleged crimes? Let's talk about this. All right, so Nick Cannon had folks side-eyeing him hard after his initial comments about the Diddy allegations, like he straight up said he felt obliged to defend Diddy. This whole thing popped up again from an old interview on his show Council Culture, where he was chatting with Ian Lean Zant about the situation. Now, to be fair, Nick did mention he feels bad for Cassie and is praying for her. But when it came to actually condemning Diddy's actions, he was really hesitant. He basically said it's tough for him to say anything bad about Diddy because they're cool like that.
I find difficulty when I'm asked about people that I know about. It was either Breakfast Club or Angela Yee or something, and they asked me about Puff, and I answered it as honestly as I knew how to answer it. I know these people, they're not just public figures to me. So I have to almost do this dance about when it comes up, because just as much as I know Diddy, I know Cassie. I think what they brought up is like, I saw that. I kind of was saying I'm praying for Cassie, trying to find the high frequency in knowing the story, knowing the right thing to talk about. I was like, this is someone who was hurt, who was victimized. But then when this question goes a little bit further, like, so what about Puff? I was like, I don't know how to feel about it.
It's clear that a lot of people were insulted by this. Despite the unsettling footage of Diddy groping Cassie that we all witnessed, it's obvious that something is off and that Cassie is in real agony. Nick persisted in pointing out holes in the narrative, claiming that it's hard for him to criticize Diddy because the music producer got him through a trying period in his life. And if all of that wasn't awful enough, Nick admitted that even knowing everything Diddy has done, he still has a natural desire to stand up for him.
When I was going through my stuff, someone that called, checked on me, stood by me, stood up for me, and I was like, what do I owe?
Well, what does that mean, stood by you, stood up for you?
Well, when no one else would protect me, or
whether it's Puffy or whoever, you want to be their brother first, not their PR agent.
But as a friend and as a brother, I want to defend.
But that's not your job.
It's not my job. So your advice to me is sometimes you say, I'm going to
reserve comment. That is my brother, and I'm going to reserve comment.
So that goes back to what this is all about, healing in the public eye. As our brotherhood, it shouldn't be in the public.
Considering how many of Diddy's industry friends have gone radio silent, acting as though they've never even met Nick, it seems like a child who should have stayed in the draft. If he's really that conflicted about speaking about his brother, why not just sit this one out? Things are getting even more hazy now that there are rumors circulating that Nick experienced some really dark things when he was younger and trying to make a name for himself in both music and comedy. Guess who's being mentioned in this mess? Rumor has it that before Nick went public, he met Jamie Foxx, who took him under his wing and invited him to crash at his house. In one interview, Jamie even mentioned that he used to film all of Diddy's wild parties, casually mentioning that Nick was only 13 at the time. Given the kind of things that are supposedly discussed at these parties, one has to wonder what Nick really went through at such a young age.
I would show up to the party in my little town car. This town, I grabbed a town car so I could skirt. Puff the SUVs and the Bentleys, the whole night. He get out. I get out too with a camera, the big Canon. Like, yo, Puff, I should document this, right? Yo, what's up, Playboy? What you talking about? I said, no, I should get this, man. You, Fonz, the whole night. He says, yeah, let him through. Excuse me. So I get the, but at that time, it wasn't like the little camera dog, and it was the big intrusive Canon. I had a battery pack. Hold on, man. Let me change the pack. Put my light on here. Do that again, Puff. Do that again. I missed that one. Do that again. Put the pack. So I started following him. So I followed him the whole time. I remember watching Puff at the Beverly Hills Hotel, filming this, and it's a pool party that is ridiculous, man. All of a sudden, I get this, and then I flip the camera this way. There's Demi Moore and some young dude. I don't know who the dude is. So I said, Puff, who that? Oh, that's the young cat. I asked him a question. I said, cool. So I asked Demi Moore, I said, is it cool if I? She said, sure, whatever. it was probably a wild night. So I watched when they first, got together. So what happened was, I'm following Puff, and his parties were like amazing. What you benefited from? Nick Cannon used to sleep on my couch.
Get
13 years old. He'd be in one part of the house. He'd be like, "Can I, nigga, go back in there?" You can't come in here.
How come these old men keep asking young male celebrities to live with them like it's normal? It's unsettling, and it makes me think of the whole Diddy and Usher situation. Usher even acknowledged that at the age of 14, he lived with Diddy and saw a lot of things that shouldn't have been exposed to teenagers, who even thought that was a good idea.
I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor
some...
Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In
to...
the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgies nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle,
Right.
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild. It was,
So
it was
nobody
crazy.
tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't
and
say that.
Okay.
I didn't
But
say
you
that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
It's shocking that these influential businessmen were sending these young lads into such dubious situations while posing as mentors. When you look back at the stories Diddy told about Usher, Jamie, and Nick, you can't help but notice a pattern. It's as though they were putting these kids in a group and forcing them into a world they weren't ready for. Years later, some of these celebrities are finally coming out, leaving you to wonder what really went down behind the scenes. In a recent interview, Usher revealed that his time at Puffy Flavor Camp is the reason he still has trouble sleeping at night. He also claimed that he and Diddy would argue because Usher thought Diddy wanted to support him in his music career, but it sounds like Diddy had other ideas.
As a result of being around that man, Sean Puffy Combs, I don't sleep to this day. I have a problem sleeping to this day. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old, and I'm telling him, look, you're gonna put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there, you got Craig Mack in there. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? We would fight, we would tussle.
But following all those accusations against Diddy, which included receipts and video of him physically abusing Cassie, Usher made a complete 180-degree turnabout and began glorifying Puffy Flavor Camp, declaring that it was the finest thing that had ever happened to him.
I don't think I would be the artist that I am today without the experiences that I had in New York City. You know what I'm saying? But so great to have had those experiences because, one, I didn't have a big brother and my dad wasn't there in my life as a kid. So all these experiences just readied me for life. So greater than just being an artist, that man helped me understand life. He helped me understand what it was to be an artist. He helped me understand what it was to be passionate about something. He helped me understand culture. He helped me understand business on a different level because I'm seeing him go from his independence to then becoming Puff Daddy. You know what I'm saying? And I got a front row seat looking at that. Thank God that I had that experience, you know what I'm saying?
Usher's original story didn't exactly paint Flavor Camp in the best light. He was talking about being exposed to a lot of stuff that a 14-year-old had no business seeing. So for him to now claim it was some kind of positive experience that changed his life is almost like him trying to rewrite history now that Diddy is being dragged through the mud. I'm not sure why, but something seems strange. Perhaps he's attempting to remove himself from the drama or there's pressure from behind the scenes. People are beginning to think of Usher's regarding face when Nick Cannon acts defensively toward Diddy and refuses to publicly denounce his behavior. Fans are even beginning to speculate that Nick may have been harmed by Diddy. Given Jamie Foxx and other prominent figures from that era, it's understandable why many are expressing skepticism. The design is just too recognizable. These young celebrities are drawn into these unfortunate circumstances, and years later, their behavior begins to resemble a cry for assistance. People are now beginning to make the connection between Nick's alleged trauma and some of his more dubious decisions, particularly his relationships with women and the fact that he has 12 children by various women. It seems like there's this unsaid trauma that keeps bubbling up in the form of self-destructive behavior, and fans are wondering if all of that is a reflection of the emotional scars he might be carrying from what happened when he was younger. If the rumors are true, it's heartbreaking because it would mean that Nick, like so many others, never really got the chance to heal from whatever went down behind closed doors.
Baby mamas, then
Yeah.
Lord knows how
Just wrap it up.
still coming. I'm like a seahorse out here. That's just the way I'm procreating.
Nick, nevertheless, seems to be quite proud of his association with Diddy, as evidenced by his recent insistence that he attended Diddy's extravagant parties and exclaimed about how much he enjoyed them.
Even been at one when I was a kid, like 16, 17, standing outside.
Nick,
Yeah,
This one.
come on.
Yeah, I live my truth. Everybody gets scared to talk because they probably got something to hide. I ain't got nothing to hide.
I don't have nothing to hide.
I was in there Harlem shaking, doing all of that stuff, but it wasn't, come on, whatever. There that we are classifying a good party with a freak off.
I just
Well,
think
it's
it's hilarious. Who was drinking Brown Dot Ciroc? Let us know. That Brown Dot Ciroc.
But see, that's the thing. I don't drink. I don't do. So I was like, I don't know all that. They
You
don't.
was
They
in a
don't.
Diddy party sober?
I'm in my life sober. I've never been drunk in my life.
Fans, however, feel that he's being quite callous given how terrible the Diddy situation is, particularly for the victims who must repeat their misery. They also said it has a fluffy flavor. He is speaking from his subconscious as a camp alumnus. People joke about Nick's large number of children, but what's really going on with him? I've heard some people say that Nick slept on Diddy's couch when he was a teenager, which makes us wonder what might have happened to him. Do you think Nick was victimized, or did he just love the parties? Nick is living a very raggedy and reckless life. He lacks a moral compass, and something is very off with him. Leave a comment below with your opinions, then watch this next video.